Hello and welcome to group exercise at the YMCA of York in York County. My name is Justin and today we will be doing gentle chair yoga. The only thing you really need for this class is a chair, preferably armless. You also might want a water bottle so that you can have something to drink when we take a break during class. So I always like to have a theme for my classes, and today our theme is going to be Yoga 2.0. And hopefully we'll take a little bit of a different look at traditional yoga because I really want to make it a personal practice and to give you tools that can help you modify, regardless of the situation that you're in, whether it's in a yoga class, doing other exercise, or just going about your normal day. So we are going to start seated in a chair. Seated comfortably, relaxing back, let the hands rest on your thighs and move the feet out. The reason I want to move the feet out is so that you're not bracing with the legs, you're letting the chair totally support you. Arms and shoulders relax. And just take a big, full, comfortable, deep breath in through your nose and let it go. Take some time to relax and get comfortable. Relaxing is not a switch that we flip. It's a process. So allowing yourself to take the time to settle. And I think that that's kind of what I want to get across today through yoga as a whole. It's that it's not a program, it's a process. A program is something that you tick the boxes, you follow step by step. A process is really being mindful of each moment and being fully involved in what we're doing. That's how I think we're going to make this Yoga 2.0. Again, give me a nice, full, comfortable, deep breath in and let it out. And one more time. Big breath. So let's play with the breath a little bit. So sitting up in the chair, get your feet closer so that you are braced a little bit, sitting up tall. And what I mean by sitting up tall is sitting up engaged. You're not slumped back or engaged, sitting, using the muscles of the trunk to fully engage with the floor. The feet are active, the spine is active. So again, playing with the breath, we're going to look at trying to fully engage and use the trunk and the muscles of the trunk as we breathe. So let's just explore and inhale. Breathing in, allowing yourself to try to fill up all the little nooks and crannies, and there are a few, in your trunk. So just nice, slow, mindful inhale. And let it go when you're done. So what I want you to notice or think about as you inhale is, can I breathe into any areas that are tight? Let's try that again. And breathe laterally, breathe expressively as we go here. And on the exhale, just let it release. Let it be relaxed. Let's do two more inhales. So again, trying to be exploratory with that in-breath. There's no right or wrong way to breathe. We're just trying to breathe expressively. So working on the exhale next, just do whatever's a comfortable full inhale. And blow it out slowly and completely until you reach a point of comfortable emptiness. Full inhale. Comfortable full exhale. again, let's do 2 more full comfortable inhale. Full comfortable exhale. So after those 2 breaths, I'm not going to really worry about suspension or retention right now. But basically, all yoga is playing with inhale, holding the breath, exhale, and suspending the breath before you inhale again. So we just want to play with that a little bit today. And I want to look more at body posture than breath in this practice. But as we're warming up, we'll still do a little bit of breathing. So one of the things that makes this yoga 2.0 is we're not just going to hold poses. I want to mobilize through them. So starting out with just a side bend, my left hand, your left hand is going to be on your left leg, right arm up and over, swaying out, coming to a gentle stretch, reach, and then back. Just playing with this movement, up and over. So sometimes I'll talk about grounding with the opposite hip. I don't want to do that today. I want you to lean to the left as you do this. Up and over. We're going to hold this one a little bit, but still to mobilize. From here, rotate through it a little bit. I'm using my left arm to push a little, rotate back. Take a breath, rotate in. I'm also turning the palm outwards as I rotate back. Pushing with the left arm a little bit and rotating in. Let's go one more. Down and then up and over. Up and over. Engage, stretch, elongate. Think elastic. Again, I'm using my left arm actively here. Breathe. And back. I'm going to do the same thing. Right arm to the right leg and left arm over, coming up and over. I'm keeping my left leg active and just flowing up and back. You're not coming to a complete pause at the end here. I'm coming up and over and stretching out actively. Just a short pause, but an active reach and then back. So I want you to make your yoga a more engaged practice. Be invested and involved in your poses, in your asana. One more time, up and over. Reach. And then we'll rotate or mobilize. Rotating back, pushing with the right arm, open. Breathe. And in. We're just going to rotate through this a couple of times back, stretching with the right arm, pushing with the right arm, turning that left hand away a little bit and back. And you can also use this to kind of identify differences right to left. I know my this side is tighter for me, so I'm going to work it a little bit. And one more time, lower the arm, and then up and over. Engage with the right arm, stretching with the left arm. I'm going to get this wrong today, aren't I? Stretching opposite directions. And down. So working the lower body, I'm going to scoot up in the chair. So I'm toward the middle or the front of the chair. Moving the feet to a wide V position. Hands to the knees, elongate the trunk. I'm going to hinge forward. I'll do this a couple of times here, and then I will turn to the side And we talk about it. But first thing I want you to just think about is stay active in the legs. I'm opening outward from the knee, hinging down, coming to a brief sinking pause. I'm sinking down into that and then come back up. So just going to the point where you feel a stretch, opening through the legs, sinking down, elongating the spine, hinging into that actively, and then back up. Breathing as you go. Exhale down. And you can take as many breaths as you need. And then hinging back up. Remember, even as you hinge forward, keep the legs active. I'm coming down, actively opening the legs. You can have your arms on the knees or stretched down at this point, sinking down, and then back up. Let's do one more, sinking down. And you can have your hands to the shins, ankles, feet, floor, or just on the knees, whatever is comfortable, but keep it active. I'm pressing my sternum downwards, opening the knees actively. Breathe. And back up. Trying to use the muscles of the back as you go. Coming back to the center. So I do want to turn to the side here a little bit and look at this because I often talk about having a long spine. And kind of what I mean by that is you're sitting up from the tailbone, lifting the chest as you hinge down. So there might be a tendency to round a little bit, but as long as there's an extensional process happening, it will work for you. So it's strength with fluidity. Strength with flexibility. Elongating out, but allowing myself to be engaged enough to bend, but not collapse. Still engaged. Up and back. Opening with the knees, elongating the spine, hinging down. My tailbone still pulls up. My trunk still elongates as we go. All the way up. Okay, we're going to come to standing. There's not going to be a lot of different movements necessarily today, but I want to really work through them as we go. So I'm going to move the chair for now. And we're going to look at Warrior One. So I'm going to do a lot of this turning and showing from different angles. Hopefully that will help and not be confusing. So I'm going to start with Warrior One with my right leg forward, left leg back. Let me make sure I'm completely in frame here. First thing I want to do is make sure both knees are relaxed. My front knee is relaxed. My back leg is relaxed. I'm not going to worry about pushing or extending right now. First thing I want to do is rotate, opening the hip, and then turning and squaring towards the right. As you do that, you should feel a stretch across the front of the hip flexor. Opening and rotating. As you do this, try to keep that knee tracking in line with the toes. And then I'm going to come in here toward the right side. I'm going to turn here for a second. So rotating in toward the right side. My back knee is relaxed, my front knee is relaxed, no farther than about the arch of the foot. As I do this, I'm going to take my left arm up and back. Just open. So my right arm's still on the leg, or on the hip. I'm opening back, rotating in, extending up and back. Let's do that again. Relax down, extend up, and then press with the leg, stretch to that side of the body, up and back. You can use both arms if you want, but again, I'm starting low, I'm extending up, and back. Just coming to that extension, reach, and relax. Let's go one more time. Reach, rotate, sweep, scoop up, and back. Doesn't matter how far you go. I just want you to be engaged through that from the foot up through the hands. You reach. And lower. So I'm not going to do a forward fold just yet. I'm going to do that eventually. But let's switch sides and work through this. We can really focus on each movement one at a time. So I'm going to go left foot forward, right foot back, and rotate. Open and rotate. Again, just try to keep the knee tracking over the toes, opening out and rotating in. Again, it doesn't have to be perfect. You're just trying to feel the structures involved, feel that opening through the hip flexor, making sure both of the knees are relaxed. And just pay attention to the joints talking to you. If I rotate out and start to feel pressure in the hip, I can let it come in a little bit, just try to maintain engagedness. It's not a word, is it? All right, rotating and up and back. I'm going to turn here. Because again, as we do this, I want to scoop and extend, elongate up and back. I think sometimes we take these poses for granted. Up, extend, and back. You can use both arms if you want. Sweep up and back. Wiggle's all right too. And relax. So what I'm trying to do with this, my version of yoga, it's not really yoga 2.0, you can't do that, but with this version of yoga, I'm going to avoid that falling into a pose and just hanging out there. I want to be engaged with it. For this next one, I'm going to try to decide, I want you to stay facing toward the screen. I want to look at forward fold. So looking at forward fold, again, relax the knees. First thing I want you to do is hinge the hips out, squatting back. So you don't want to lock the knees, sinking into the hips. You want to go back far enough that you feel that in the hips. Now you can have the arms down or brace yourself on your thighs, depending. From here, I'm going to reach down and start to lift the hips a little. But I'm getting into the hips first and then extending. You'll feel that in the hamstrings. You don't have to have the legs locked. And again, extending through the trunk. So this is a functional forward fold. You're really engaging the structures in the body and actively stretching into it. Reach toward the horizon, elongate out. So you're sitting back into the hips, reaching out. I guarantee you'll feel that in the hamstrings. Lower down, drop the hips, tuck, and roll up. So everything starts at the center, the hips and the core. Even a back bend. Relax the knees, tuck the hips under, extend the spine. Arms can be down. Now, normally I do this with the hands on the back, but I want you to feel tuck, lift, extend back. Trying to feel it stretch across the front of the body. If you feel anything in your lower back, tuck harder, bend the knees more. You don't really have to go into a back bend per se. Even if you're a straight line and you tuck, lift, feeling that across the front of the body, that's what we want. Tuck, lift, extend. If you want to go farther, we can reach the arms up and back, but you're only going as far as you feel it across the front of the body, in the core, in the hip flexors, not in the lower back. And forward fold, again, arms down, start slow. Bend the knees, hinge into the hips. Feel it here first, and then down. Elongate, lift, and then start to gently lift from the tailbone up. If you want from here, release the upper body, but still extend through the lower body. It's not about locking your legs. It's about engaging. Bend the knees, drop the hips, slowly coming up, nice and slow. So let's do the same thing with a wide leg forward fold. Just like seated, we want to engage with the legs as we come down. So about one leg's length apart. I'm going to turn again because I think it makes more sense when you can see what's happening at the back of the body. That's kind of what I want you to pay attention to today, is what's going on in the back of the body and the core specifically. Bend the knees a little bit, sink back with the hips and lower down. You can have the hands on the knees or lower as much as you're comfortable with and kind of sit into it. So I really want you to feel that in the glutes, sinking down, keeping the knees wide. And then we can have pulse in place. Extend and lower. Be active with it, not just holding. So when people say yoga is just stretching, it makes me want to tear my hair out. That's a joke. But working through it, extend, lifting the tailbone, lifting the trunk, reaching toward the horizon, so I'm back into the hips as I extend. Big breath and lower down. Drop the hips, tuck and roll up. With the feet wide, I'm going to turn here again. With the feet wide, we'll go ahead and do a triangle, turning the toes out to the left. And again, kind of keep hips and knees unlocked here. I like to kick my back leg out. This is probably not different than I've done before. We're going to reach toward the horizon, front knee unlocked. Engage with the crease of the hip and down. My right arm, I want to glue it flat to the side and kind of even grab the back of the hip as you come down. And then release the arm. I want you to keep this right arm, don't send it up. Keep the right arm down to keep the side engaged. Unlocked, trying to engage the quadricep. You're pushing into the knee a little bit without locking it. I'm also going to discourage the head turn toward the toe because that tends to rotate downward. I want you to stay lengthened, elongated. Engaged and up. Coming back to the center. Squaring off toes and sides of the feet, and then turn to the other side. Same thing. Kick the back heel out, front knee unlocked. I'm going to reach toward the horizon and then engage with the crease of the hip, pushing in a little bit. There's no need to lock the knees. So my left arm engage flat to the side, and then the right arm down. Engage, press, reach, tilt. Pushing into the knee without locking it. And back up. All right, let's look at balance. Tree pose. So you might want your chair for this one, having the chair on your right side at first. I'm going to put my chair there as a prop. I might not use it. Maybe I will. Who knows? So first thing, again, unlock the knees. I'm shifting to the side, trying to feel that stretch in the hip. Shifting to the side, feel that stretch in the hip. Trunk stays upright as best you can. But if we do this, load the center over the base, you'll notice you might not need that other foot to help you balance. But hold on, we're going to go a little bit further. So as I shift my weight, I'm slightly rotating towards that side, not only to get into the side of the hip, but to use the glute. It's like you're sitting on a chair. So I go lateral and then rotate and then sit, using those structures to help hold you up so you don't really need that back leg anymore. So do that to both sides. Shift, rotate, sit. Practice with this opposite leg. Maybe you don't need it. You try to think about sitting on like a really tall stool. Using the glute, using the IT band, using your body structure and alignment to balance instead of fighting through it. So we're going to do tree pose like this, going towards your chair, shift, sit, and then narrow your stance, coming to the ankle, the calf, or the thigh. Don't put your foot directly on your knee, and don't lock that knee either. It's just the urge to lock it. Sitting into the hip, extending up. You can have your hands in the center, one hand on the chair, or both arms reaching up. Now this is going to feel a little bit different, and that's kind of what I want. I want you to think about it a little bit differently. From there, we can extend up. But again, resist the urge to lock the knee. You're sitting into the hip. Stepping down, nice and slow, and then lower the arms. Same thing, other side. So you might want to be on the other side of the chair. And shifting the weight. Sitting into the hip. Sitting into the hip. We have glutes, we should use them. So our prime mover muscle, we don't get enough play. Sit into the hip, knees relaxed, long spine, but my weight's here like I'm sitting on a stool. Moving the other foot closer and then rotating center over the base. Use that hip. Elongate. You can use the chair, hands at the center, or reach. And lower. So let's do the same thing with our down dog that we did with our forward fold. And I would encourage you to do this, if you're doing a regular floor practice too, try this with your down dog. Just think about the center first, the hips first. Don't worry about the legs and the knees as much. I see this in yoga classes a lot where there's this tendency to lock everything out. And that can be good, but this is a little different. So with the chair, I'm stepping back, bending the knees, sinking, I need to go back further, sinking into the hips first, lifting the tailbone. And that can be bent as much as you need to. So I do this from the front maybe, sinking back. I'm imagining the chair here. That doesn't help, does it? Sinking back into the hips and then lift the tailbone. You might need to go back a little bit farther to sink into the chest, but I want to focus on the hips and the lower body first. So I'm getting down into the hips and then extending up. Tailbone lifts. And we can bend and straighten from side to side. Again, try not to lock the knee. I want to keep that relaxed. Just shift side to side, extending up without locking. But the more you lift that tailbone, the more you'll feel the stretch really. Working through the arms. Coming up, let's do that back bend again. Step, step, come up, bend the knees, tuck, extend, up and back. I'm engaged here, I'm engaged the lower abs, and extending up and back. Long spine, long curve. From there, you can bring the arms up. Again, as long as you feel it only in the front of the body. And lowering down. All right, let's take it a little bit further. So I'm going to again move the chair. I'm going to be on the left side of the chair. So you can imagine that it's still there. I'm going to move it so I have more space. Looking at warrior 3, kind of the same thing. I'm going to bend the knees, shift my weight into the hip. So lateral, rotate, and sit here. From there, we can bring one leg back. And that might be a warrior 3 right there. As long as you're here, we're going to do this again in a second. As long as your weight's here in the hip and we're extending and the back leg is fairly relaxed, I can reach if I want. But right now, just kind of keep it relaxed. We're a kickstand. Same thing, other side. Shift laterally, sit, and then put the leg back. You can use it as a kickstand or elevate, but I'm sitting into the side. Center over the base. And up. Let's do this again, but coming from warrior 1 instead of from standing. So I'm going to step back with my left leg. Warrior 1, again, relax, relax, let's extend up. And then interlace the fingers, bring the hands down, and I'm sitting into that right side. Long spine, tailbone up. Moving your back foot in as a kickstand, lift the tailbone. You might stay here. Let me do this from the front. You might just stay here for right now with the upper body supported, the back leg on the floor, as long as you're sitting into the hip. I think we'll keep it at this level today, because I really want you to use those glutes. If you're sore tomorrow, come back and give me a thumbs up. All the way up. And switching sides. So stepping other leg back, bend the knee first, extend up. Everything extends from the back leg, up and back, interlace the fingers coming down. So remember, tailbone up, long spine, and then move the other foot in. If you're here, sitting into the hip, extending the spine, even with the hands here and the back foot in contact with the floor, you'll be working that stance. Maybe we try to float or float and tap. Okay. So, we still have plenty of time. Before we start coming back down to the chair to sit and stretch and breathe, let's work on deep squat. A deep squat is a really functional movement that you can carry over into a lot of different things. And again, it uses the glutes and the hips. So I want to stand hip to shoulder width apart. My feet are angled outwards. So let's walk through this and kind of play with it, because doing a deep squat, if you're not used to it, the foot position can matter a lot. So I'm going to turn, I want you to stay facing toward the screen and feet angled outward. I'm going to start like my forward fold, sitting back into the hips. So you'll notice that really the knees shouldn't come forward almost at all during this whole squat. Get into the hips, and then we're going to keep hinging down until you're comfortable. If your knees are uncomfortable, I would come up, reset your stance, try a different foot position, and come back down into the squat. While we're here, there's a couple of things I want to mention. Heels should be in contact with the ground. They should not be, you should not be heels up. You want to go back far enough that the heels are down. While we're here, come up from the front. If you're changing position, I would always encourage you to come all the way back up and then switch instead of doing it while you're down. So coming down, while we're here, kind of working the knee outward. That'll work the arch of the foot and the knee, opening the hip. Always do one side at a time. If you're not comfortable here and you're just here in this back semi-squat, focus on elongating the spine and sitting into the hips. You can do that. You can support yourself, but you really want to be comfortable. Now, another thing while we're here is right now I'm fairly curled over. So what I want is practice a little bit lift the trunk, lift the tailbone, and work on sitting back. So that can be tough. If you feel it in the knees, you've gone too far. But you do want to extend in this position. So let's come all the way up, hinge, stretch, back. So I'm using the hands this time because I want to protect the back. Focus on opening the hip flexors, elbows and shoulders back. And then roll the head up last. So release. With that same position, I'll keep my left hand on the hip, over, reach, mobilize, rotate. Up, mobilize, out, over, and back. Go slow, go mindfully, but explore that movement. Cool, so let's go ahead. We will have us start winding down. So really, in your yoga practice, hopefully you can take some of this with you. I want you to think about, do I really need to lock the knee? Am I really in the hip? Because the hamstring crosses two joints. It crosses the knee and it crosses the hip. So if I'm emphasizing this at the expense of that, I'm not really getting into it. So let's go ahead and follow that. So go ahead, left leg out. Start with it locked. So go ahead, I just want you to play with this. There's no right or wrong. It's all about learning and body awareness. So I'm coming down, long spine. You don't need to go very far. So foot flex, sit up from the tailbone, elongate the trunk. If that's burning or pins and needles, you don't have to go that far. Let's try the same thing. Knee bent, foot flexed, hinging forward. Maybe we're going to go farther down, but you should feel that a little bit differently, but you should still feel it. If not, come up, adjust, and then come back down. Switching legs. So start first one, knee straight, long spine, come down, feel that. And then come up, bend the knee, let me do it this way. Bend the knee, toes flex up and forward. I always tell people yoga is not about how far you go, it's about how far you go with good posture. So putting both legs out, knees bent, toes up. Very important on this one to flex the toes up. If you relax and go forward, you're going to feel you coming off of the chair. So toes stay flexed, knees bent, hinge forward. You can reach down or pull a little bit with the arms. I would encourage elbows rotate backwards as you pull. If you're not comfortable doing that, you can do it feet flat. All the way up. And let's just kind of do a quick stretch from top to bottom, from head to toes. So from here, taking the hands, push out and away. So again, active push, like you're holding two beach balls under the pool or under the water. Pushing out, stretch to the side. Bring the chin toward the shoulder. Looking up. Still pushing, active. And roll down and across. Pushing out. So first, just to the side, pushing out. Chin to shoulder. And looking up. Lower the chin and lower both arms down. All the way up. So I'm taking my right arm and reach out and away. Stretch. Big stretch. Open the fingers wide. And down, and then left arm out and away. Right leg. I'm going to use the back of the chair to brace myself and then stretch from the hips. I'm kind of arching the back a little bit and reaching away. And down. And other leg, same thing. Support and then stretch. Right arm and right leg together. Away from each other as far as you can. Again, I'm arching the back a little bit. Left arm and left leg together. Right leg and left arm. Left leg and right arm. Both arms. And then using the back of the chair for support, up and away. Press the palms. Both legs. You might hold the chair or not, but I am leaning back again. Reach. And then everything all together, all four limbs, all at once, and extending through the head. Up for 1, 2, 3. So relaxing down. I do want to kind of use this last period of time to focus on that end relaxation. As we spend the whole class being mindfully engaged, I want to use this last period to be mindfully relaxed. So it's kind of exactly the opposite and kind of just as important. So I'm going to set the feet out again, just like we did at the beginning, so there's no tension in the legs. Legs are out, arms loose, and just we'll rest them on the thighs. Palms up or palms down, doesn't matter, whatever's more comfortable. Take some time to settle and breathe. Take some time to let everything move around and find its more comfortable resting position. You can close your eyes if you want, or you can keep them open. But whatever you do, I would encourage you to, if your eyes are open or half closed, let yourself try to take in your entire visual field all at once. So the eyes unfocus and relax. Because I want to focus on what we're feeling more than anything. So the eyes open or closed or half closed. Let's start to just drain the tension out of the body. First, start off with the eyes relaxed. Even if your eyes are closed, let them unfocus. Upper jaw and lower jaw, let's move it around. And then relax. So the upper teeth and lower teeth are lightly separated. And the tongue is relaxed or soft in the mouth. Centers of the palms relax. And the soles of the feet relax. I want you to spend some time thinking about the palm of the hands. And relax the palm of the hands as much as you can. Letting the fingers soften. And then noticing how even the tension in the forearms, upper arms, into the neck can affect the palms. So we're trying to release all the way down to the palm. And using that awareness to release the rest of the arm as well. Trying to relax the soles of the feet. Letting the toes be relaxed. And then noticing how that all the structures in the legs up into the lower back contribute to tension in the feet. And then bringing your attention back to the center. So right near your belly button. And allow those muscles to relax. The stomach and lower belly muscles can relax. And then go deeper inside the abdomen. And see if you can feel and release any tension there. Finally, bring your attention back to the lungs and the rib cage and just observe the natural rhythm of your breathing for the next 10 breaths. And observing without judgment. You don't need to label what kind of breath you're doing. You don't need to investigate and just simply observe the movement of the breath. After those 10 breaths, just starting to move around the fingers and the toes, the smallest joints of the body farthest down. Maybe take some deeper breaths. Starting to move and circle the feet and the toes. It doesn't have to be like I'm doing. You can do whatever you want. So move the knees and elbows, shoulders, and hips. Stretching however you think it would be comfortable. And finally, sitting all the way back up, elongating the spine. Bring the feet back under you and sitting stable and comfortable and alert and upright. So I hope that you use some of this in the rest of your day. Please remember that everything that you do is a form of conditioning, whether it's intentional or not. Gravity always, always, always pushes down on us, whether we're sitting in a chair, laying in bed, or doing exercise on the floor with the body weight of our hands. Gravity is always putting pressure on you. So if you sit at a computer forward with the head above or forward of your center, that weight of the head and the trunk then gets distributed to the upper shoulders, to the muscles down the back. So we can practice sitting up, stacking your blocks, having the feet under the knees and wide apart. And you can do that while you're reading, while you're on the computer. It will feel like work. I guarantee it. Because we're not used to holding ourselves up. We're used to letting our supporting surface hold us up. We're used to letting the shoes do the heavy lifting for the feet, to monitor, to control the shape of the foot as it walks. I would encourage you to think about how you sit and move and affects not just your routine, and even for fitness people, how your workout affects your body while you're working out, or what it looks like, but how it affects how everything that you do, everything situation that you're in affects your body directly. And that's what I hope that you got out of my practice today. And I hope that you at least remember to check in with yourself and your body a couple times a day. So thank you very much for sharing your presence in this virtual space, for sharing your practice with the rest of us, and for sharing your breath symbolically. I want to say namaste and have a wonderful day. I know we're ending a little bit early, but I think this was a good class. If you liked it, please give me a thumbs up. Please share on social media, and I will see you again very soon. Thank you.